Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Reiki with Anna. For today's video, we are going to be doing a supportive Reiki session for Mercury in retrograde. I'm definitely noticing that my communication has been definitely more challenging. So it's a hurdle that I'm working through. And as we spoke about in the previous video, I'm doing my best to invite in kindness and patience. So, if you're new here, thank you very much for joining us. I'm really excited about the collective, the group of all of you who watches these videos and comments and is part of this awesome community. So welcome if you're new and hey everybody who's been here before. And if you are new, I am a Reiki Master practitioner as well as a lover of ASMR, and I think the combination of the two is great and very, very beneficial for both. I think Reiki complements ASMR and vice versa, and I think it's a really nice marriage. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into our session. I have this little selenite wand. It's kind of big. And then I'm going to be using just to start off and clear. And for the clearing today, I really want to clear anything that you might be bringing into this session that pertains to that judgmental side of self, whether it's a judgment of this season, whether it's why does this have to happen, why does Mercury in retrograde exist, this is so inconvenient, or whether it's why am I so bad at blah blah blah. So any of that we can clear so that we can perhaps arrive in this season from a more gentle and kind perspective, releasing any self-judgment where it's available to be released. Not living in denial of these things, but just recognizing them, looking at them, seeing, is this something I can learn from? Or is this my brain self-sabotaging? That's the stuff we want to clear. We obviously never want to promote or invite denial or promote or invite toxic positivity. I mean, that's what this season is really about for me. I mean, I'm a Scorpio, as I spoke about in the last video. And for me, this season is really all about looking at the dark stuff and seeing what's there. And that's why I want to invite in a release of judgment, because sometimes judgment can actually cloud our ability to analyze or perceive things or see them clearly. And I think as we are moving through and trying to invite in this growth, this deep transformation, we want to really be able to baldly and honestly look at our patterns, our behavior, how it serves us, how it doesn't, how we can shift it. All right, great. So let's go ahead and we're gonna light our candle and set our intention here. I really want to look at the aspects of support and gentleness in this Mercury and retrograde that can really be helped by self-care, just this blanket of self-care. I really think inviting in a deep sense of self-care, and that can change and look totally different for every single person. For one person, it might look like wearing pajamas and staying in a cozy Disney comforter all day. And for other people, it might look like getting up, exercising, sticking to routine, doing this and that, so it really is about just knowing yourself and knowing how to best care for yourself during this time. That's why it's hard for someone to tell you what you need, because you're really the only one who's going to know that. Okay. Here we go. It's about 1,000,000 degrees here. So sorry if I'm super shiny. So on behalf of your wisest, highest, most empowered and aligned selves, in loving comfort and perfect balance, I wish to conduct this distance Reiki session for support during this Mercury in retrograde, for inviting patience and for calling in self-care. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to leave this open for you. If you're working on something during this Mercury in retrograde and you just want to set an intention, I hold this flame open for you to set your intention here and now. Great. So I'm going to set this here. And now I'm going to use our spray. So this spray has cedarwood, rosemary, and sage. Cedarwood for grounding, to keep us grounded through this time. Rosemary for focus, for clarity of mind. And sage for protection, for clearing anything that's not in service of our highest self. So I'm going to start out by spraying to your right. Got a good mist going here. Now to your left. Down at your feet. And above your head. There. It smells so good with the candle, with this. Cool. All right. So the first stone that I'd like to play around with here is sodalite. I really want to invite in support for communication. So this stone is going to be right at your throat for this entire session. And we're just inviting in a deep sense of clear communication, connecting communication with intention. So, very gently placing that right at your throat. And we're just allowing this energy to billow out and support through this session. Okay. Now I'd like to play around with a new stone for me. I mean, this particular stone, I've worked with you with different fluorites, but this is a piece of fluorite, raw fluorite. You can't really see, I don't think, very well, but it's got some beautiful green and like purple stripes in here. And it's a nice chunky piece and very raw. There's a few inclusions that are really cool, almost look like rainbows just because of the angles. So it's a really cool piece. It sounds kind of silly, but it's almost like those pieces. It looks a little bit like soap. You know what I mean? The rawness of it looks like a piece of soap. So I have two different pieces of fluorite that I'm going to be playing around with for this session, and I just want to start by moving this through your energy field, particularly in the mental plane. And we're just inviting in clarity of mind. I think this can be really important at this time. Green fluorite is also associated with nature. It's associated with the heart chakra, clarity of heart, but it can really help focus the mind, especially since this is a combination of purple and green. So we really want to just kind of clear the clouds and see if we can't bring in a new perspective, a new understanding of self, a shift in the way that we see things. I'm going to play around with the other piece of fluorite a little bit here now. I just think this piece in particular is so cool. Again, this isn't doing it justice, but it really shows off the cubic nature of this stone. Fluorite forms in cubes, and this one is really a great showcase of that. Just looks like puzzle pieces put together. I'm sure I'll show it to you closer. And you'll become familiar with this piece because I'm going to be using it, I think, a lot in this practice. So really focusing here with this piece on that mental maintenance, mind management. How can we invite in a sense of perspective and prioritizing? How can we better prioritize our time? How can we prioritize our health, our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health? What would that look like as far as behavior goes for you specifically? And how do you get from where you are to that ideal self? Not comparing to others, we're all so different, but just honestly looking at ourselves and saying, where do I want to be with my mental health? And what are the obstacles in between me and that space? And how can I bridge that gap? I think therapy is amazing for mind maintenance. It's so helpful just to, finding that clarity, putting the pieces of the puzzle together in a way that you maybe haven't been able to before. I think meditation is another great tool that we can use. Obviously I'm partial to Reiki. I do self-Reiki almost daily. Finding ways of inviting in a sense of inner calm. Finding healthy ways of self-soothing. I think ASMR is a great example of that. People who dedicate their time to offer free content to help us calm down and relax. I started creating ASMR videos because I was a huge fan of ASMR and I benefited greatly from ASMR for years and I wanted to do it. And I think that's a wonderful, healthy way from my perspective of inviting in a sense of self-care here. Again, you're the only one who can know what's best for you. But these are just some things that I've found helpful and useful and have spoken to you and you found helpful and useful. So let's really invite in some gentleness here, some kindness, patience, and clarity. Okay. What I'd like to do now is just invite in this Kambaba Jasper for support during times of transformation. So kind of gently helping to shed that skin. When a snake is shedding its skin and it'll slither through kind of rougher patches, rougher areas, the thicker, taller grasses, or rub against fallen trees or rocks to help it pull the skin off. So just sort of imagining that, this gentle assistance with that transformation, that shedding of the old. Kambaba is associated with the heart chakra. It's fossilized sea algae or petrified sea algae, and it is very fluid. It's got a very fluid motion to it. And Reiki is all about movement, flow, breaking up any of those blockages, those energetic blockages that we might be experiencing that could be preventing us from stepping into that highest self. So I'm going to move through with this Kambaba, and we're just going to invite in this supportive, fluid energy here, starting at the crown. Just some extra added little ASMR sounds here. I've had a lot of requests for that, and so I'm just adding in some sounds here and there in these videos just to add some extra little tingles. Okay, great. All right, wonderful. Okay. All right, now I'm just going to do the hands-on healing here. We're going to start at the crown and move down, sending beautiful, supportive, healing energy through time and space to where and whenever you happen to be receiving this session. So I'm going to draw the symbols and we'll begin. You can do this along with me if you feel called to. You can place your hands on your body as I move down. I'm placing my hands on the crown of your head now. Now on the third eye here. Now on the throat, just hovering outside of the throat here. So just inviting in some expansiveness, some openness imagine beautiful light flowing in through the crown of your head and slowly oozing down as we move from the crown, down your body, down the energy body, through the primary chakras. Sending freedom, flow, movement, expansion, all gently done. All right, moving into the heart center now. I'm going to be hovering my hands outside of the heart center here. And now placing my hands on the solar plexus, 2 to 3 fingers above the belly button. Now placing my hands on the sacral, 2 to 3 fingers beneath the belly button. Now placing my hands on your hips, outside of your hips here. Gently but firmly placing my hands on your hips and sending this energy ping-ponging between my palms here. I just got tingles in the back of my head. Super intense tingle. Intense. So maybe we've got a lot of stuff going. Oh my gosh, it's so intense. So maybe we have a lot of stuff going on in the root here. Trust, feelings of anything to do with feelings of safety or security. Maybe you have some fear around financial security. Maybe there's just a general sense of fear, anxiety, or I don't know. It's a really intense tingle right at the back of my head. Okay. Great. So as you move through this time, just know that this too shall pass. The awkwardness that might arise at this time will pass. If you're, confronted with exes or confronted with maybe awkward past friendships that are, just uncomfortable now, or that uncomfortable conversation, that uncomfortable communication, that feeling of, I can't believe I just said that. Any of that vibe. If you feel like that, just know that we're all experiencing it. Most likely the person that you feel embarrassed about has done that very recently or is feeling that way about their interaction with you as well. It's just part of this time, and try So I would just encourage you to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, give yourself extra time, double check things, and embrace this sense of transformation. Move into it as if you've chosen it, because really this is a beautiful opportunity for growth. And more than anything, if that feels empowering for you, I want you to, embrace that. And if there's anything I want to leave you with today, it's to just invite in a sense of excitement about this transformation, this transformational time, if that feels empowering to you. All right, spraying to your right, sealing all of this goodness here. Spraying to your left. Great. Spraying down at your feet. Great. And now up above your head. Okay. I'm going to use the rattle just to provide a really thick, beautiful, dense, healthy, supportive aura, so you can move through all of these challenges feeling supported and protected. And we're really going to focus on the crown and on the root for this, just to give you some of that extra added trust, or support around that trust rather. So I'd just love to hear you share whatever you're moving through. If there's anything that's different for you, if you were, watched my previous video and are now carrying through to this video, and if there's anything that you feel is different or has shifted between these two. If there's anything that you're moving through in this Mercury in retrograde, I'd just love to hear about it. I find this to be a fascinating season, a fascinating time. And this particular Mercury in retrograde, with all of the intensity of 2020, smack dab between two full moons. We have a Mars in retrograde at the same time. It's connected to the planet Uranus, all about, speeding things up and breakthroughs, and it's very high octane, and Scorpio, an intense season for many. So I'm just excited and interested, and if you're open to sharing, I'd love to hear anything that you want to share. As always, I read every single one of your comments, and I just love each and every one of you. Thank you. As we continue to build and grow this community, you have no idea how much it means that you're here. It's just so cool. I don't know how else to say it other than that. It's really cool, and I feel so supported by you. So thank you. You give me a lot of hope, as always, and inspiration. So, all right, I'm sending you all a big, huge hug, and so much support as you move through this Mercury in retrograde. All right. Until next time, be well.